Valheim is coming out in 1.0 with the final biome Deep North. Some players are thinking that this will be the end, no more updates after this point. Are you thinking that way? Well, you're wrong, because the devs have made it clear in the previous session we had and on previous occasions that they are not stopping when the Valheim 1.0 releases. Here are 5 points that made this clear. First point that shows that Valheim 1.0 is not the end is when Grim was telling us about the inventory fix they added. But it is a basic version with plans to add more things to make it interesting or add more interesting solutions. Here's what he said.
Most of the things in Valheim is so what we've tried to focus on, because there's so many things that we want to do, so much things that we want to prioritize and look into. The way that we've gone about looking at the Deep North and the 1.0 is how do we get this to be a good base game first. So I think a lot of the solutions that we have are very basic and simple ones to come out of the base game. And then I think like going forward, that's when we can go deep dive on not better solutions, but more interesting ones or separate and alternate solutions to problems like, for example, the inventory, sailing, and so on.
Second point that shows that Valheim 1.0 is not the end. I recall an interview that Grim had talking about how he wanted to have players get an animation change to their attacks based on the skill level in the weapons they used. So like show off your proficiency with using a sword or spear, you name it. I asked Grim about this idea if it was implemented in the 1.0 update. Here's what he said.
Yeah, I remember you talking about like you wanted something interesting for like when you like raise your skill level, like if you reach a certain level, maybe at the attack change or the visuals of it. Was anything like that added?
Yeah, no, not for the 1.0. I think that's the stuff that I want to look at more in the future. Not as a base game product, I don't think so. There's nothing like that in the game currently.
Third point that shows that Valheim 1.0 is not the end. So after Snazzy asked if there were improvements to the multiplayer networking side of things, they said they didn't make any major changes, but there are some improvements. But they wanted to add more stuff to flesh things out a bit.
Yeah, there has been network improvements, but not changes to like the ownership.
Gotcha.
Just going back to the question you had about multiplayer and so on, one of the things I feel that needs to, it's not going to be addressed in the 1.0, but in the future, I think we need some kind of tag in and tag out system for in combat where it feels a little bit annoying when you're too many people around, and if not everyone's helping out with that one creature, then it feels very tedious trying to bring that creature down. I want to have something more dynamic. I'm not sure how we're going to sort that out just yet, but that's something I want for the future, at least some kind of tag in and tag out. Not that you are actually tagging in and out, but that the game is actually doing that for you. Mostly so you don't run up to a 2-star troll, and just because there are a lot of people in the area, that troll becomes much more difficult and has more HP. And I think that's something I would want to change in the future, but it's not in for the 1.0.
A dynamic tap in and out system. I like the idea, and this can be very useful on large servers, and the network side, they know it needs more work. And I'm glad they are aware of that, but I understand that the base of the game was priority and needed to be done. Yeah, more to come after Valheim 1.0. Fourth point that Valheim 1.0 is not the end is that the devs have plans beyond 1.0, is what they said about the Valheim world. Adding alternative biomes, which is setting the base to add more stuff in the future. Here's what they said.
Very easily with the alternative biome system is very easily create alternative biomes. So that means you can have, for example, a beach meadows. You'd find rocky beach meadows. So there would be a lot of or rocky birch. I mean, so a lot of birch trees and so on. or you could find black forest that is deforested black forest, where it's just lots of tree stumps and stuff like that. Mostly for having just visually changed up the
Yeah, just the biome sort of choice.
Yeah.
More variety in the biomes themselves type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and with that said, then it doesn't mean that you will find new items just yet, but
Right. Yeah,
this is
yeah.
just setting us up for the same thing with the Hearth and Home update, setting that up for magic system later down the line with the foods. The alt biome is a way for us to be able to, like, okay, in these biomes, in these alternative meadows biomes, you might be able to find this kind of weapon or this kind of armor or this kind of thing, this kind of furniture, which will make it more unique to replay further down the line. But this is basically setting it all up so that we can be safe about going forward with this in the 1.1 and 1.2 and so on.
Now this is clear as day. They already added a system that they are going to build on further to expand on the game in different areas, and for this system, I'm here for it. This is the future of Valheim. Fifth point that shows that Valheim 1.0 is not the end is adding more build pieces. Sarah expressed this when I asked if there were more build pieces in the early parts of the game for the Valheim 1.0. She said not at the moment, but gave a bit more info.
Are there any more building pieces in the older biomes that's we may get, excluding like the what you guys have already teased? Like,
I don't think there's any more early game build pieces at the moment, at least. My dream would be to like add to all of the biomes, but there's not enough time.
So Valheim 1.0 Deep North is not the end of the road. This is just a few stuff they have mentioned, and I'm sure they have more in mind. So I hope this helps you all to look forward to the future of Valheim, and that Valheim 1.0 is not the end.